Have you heard that inflammation is somehow the issue with tennis elbow? That it's causing your pain? It's something that you need to treat and defeat? If you have, it's only because inflammation is the biggest tennis elbow sacred cow myth of all time, not because it's true. Hi, this is Alan from Tennis Elbow Classroom with a 2-minute tutorial. Well, this is probably going to be a little longer. And I have good news for you if you're still chasing, treating, and worrying about inflammation. Here's why you can stop chasing and fighting it right now. First of all, tennis elbow is not an inflammatory condition by nature, and it certainly isn't caused by inflammation despite what you may have heard. Second, medical researchers have found instead that tennis elbow is usually a degenerative condition called tendinosis. This is very well established. And inflammation, far from being in excess, out of control, is often lacking or even completely missing. How could it be lacking? Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because third, and most importantly, inflammation is actually a necessary and normal part of your healing process. Anytime you injure tissues like muscles or tendons, you need to have some inflammation in order to heal. And if inflammation is completely absent, healing isn't happening. What this means is there's actually nothing productive to be gained by chasing and fighting inflammation, at least in this context. I know this may still sound confusing and quite contradictory. I'll explain more in a second, but in order to keep this short, I'm going to break it into 2 parts and save the medical research references I have to back up what I'm claiming for part 2, if you want proof. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, but my tennis elbow feels like it's inflamed. Those burning sensations, that achy, swollen feeling, and the sudden jolts of searing pain when you turn a doorknob or just take a jug of milk out of the fridge. And it feels better when I ice it, take anti-inflammatories, or get a cortisone shot. I know how it feels. I've experienced those symptoms too. Any reasonable person would assume there must be inflammation in there somewhere, but the research just doesn't support it. And these symptoms are very deceptive. I know from experience this is confusing to tennis elbow sufferers. It seems like a total contradiction. Yes, it's true that pills, ice, and cortisone shots really do often work to relieve the pain and other symptoms, at least temporarily. But they work whether that pain is caused by inflammation or not. And chances are yours isn't. From what I've read, even medical researchers are still a little perplexed at why it hurts so much, even when they can find no evidence of inflammation. What they have found time and time again is degeneration. Now please understand that is basically the opposite of inflammation. It's basically decay, like tooth decay. The healing process is failing to keep up with the stress and damage to the tendon. The tendon's gradually breaking down. If healing was happening normally, there'd be some inflammation. It's not there because healing isn't happening. Yes, it still hurts, but again, probably not because of inflammation. It's, there is an injury, and it hurts, but inflammation's not the cause of the pain most of the time. Once more, the key point here is that inflammation is a normal part of your healing process anytime you have a tissue injury. So I hope this helps you make a more informed choice. You can take the pills, ice, and shots approach and get some short-term pain relief if you want, but at the risk of a longer, harder road to recovery. Because here's the real kicker. If you succeed in completely chasing away what little inflammation might actually be there, you may inadvertently slow or even stop your healing process altogether. On the other hand, you could make your peace with inflammation and allow it in return for better, faster healing and long-term relief, but probably with some temporary discomfort along the way. I know this probably still sounds really crazy, but if you have a stubborn, chronic case of tennis elbow, you may actually need to encourage some inflammation just to jumpstart your failed healing process and get out of that downward degeneration spiral. This is Alan, your tennis elbow tutor, and you can learn more about tennis elbow and about how to treat it and how not to here at tenniselbowclassroom.com.